an original story created exclusively for Love Among Diamonds. Emma's fingers trembled as she stared at the letter in Liam Walker's hand. Her most intimate confession meant for his brother, now clutched by the wrong man. The fluorescent lights of his executive office cast harsh shadows across his face, but couldn't hide the intensity in his eyes as they locked with hers. Rain pelted against the floor-to-ceiling windows, creating a rhythmic backdrop to her thundering heartbeat. She had poured her soul into those pages, never imagining that the cold, calculating CEO would be the one to read them. Now, standing before him in her paint-splattered jeans, Emma watched something shift in Liam's expression, a crack in his perfect facade that revealed a glimpse of vulnerability she never expected to see. The letter between them was just paper and ink, but in this moment, it felt like dynamite with a lit fuse. Emma Sullivan sat cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by crumpled paper and half-empty cups of cold tea. The dim light of her bedside lamp cast a warm glow across the page as she wrote the final words of her letter to Daniel Walker, her best friend of 15 years. I've loved you since that summer day when you helped me pick up my scattered art supplies in the rain. I've loved you through college, through heartbreaks, through everything. I don't expect anything to change between us. I just needed to finally put these words somewhere, outside my heart. She signed her name with a flourish, folded the letter carefully, and slipped it into an envelope. Emma had no intention of ever giving it to him. The letter was therapy, a way to finally acknowledge feelings she'd carried for too long. Tomorrow was Daniel's birthday party at his family's estate. She would bring her usual thoughtful gift, a hand-painted portrait of his beloved dog, and act normal, as she always did. The letter would stay hidden in her drawer, a secret confession to no one. Across town, in a glass-walled office overlooking the city skyline, Liam Walker reviewed quarterly reports. As CEO of Walker Industries, he rarely left before midnight, unlike his carefree younger brother Daniel. Liam carried the weight of their family legacy on his shoulders. His assistant knocked softly before entering. The gift you ordered for your brother arrived. Sir, I've placed it on your desk. Thank you, Sophia. That will be all for tonight. Alone again. Liam rubbed his temples. He and Daniel had grown distant over the years, their lives moving in opposite directions. The expensive watch he'd purchased felt impersonal. But what else could he give someone he barely understood anymore? The next evening, Emma arrived at the Walker mansion clutching her gift and the letter. She'd brought it only to burn later in a symbolic gesture of moving on. The party was in full swing, music and laughter spilling from the open doors. Daniel greeted her with a warm hug. Emmy, you made it. Happy birthday, she said, handing him the wrapped portrait. I need to put this somewhere safe first. She patted her purse where the letter was hidden. Just leave it in the study with the other gifts. I'll be right back with drinks. The study was quiet and empty. Emma placed her purse on the desk, intending to keep the letter with her, but became distracted by a familiar photo. Daniel and her at graduation, arms around each other, laughing. When she heard footsteps approaching, she hurried out through the side door, forgetting her purse in her haste. Later that night, after most guests had departed, Liam entered the study seeking a moment of quiet. He noticed an unfamiliar purse on his father's desk. Opening it to find identification, he discovered the unsealed envelope with Daniel's name. Something about the handwriting, delicate yet confident, made him pause before he could reconsider. He found himself reading words never meant for his eyes. The raw honesty in Emma's letter struck him like a physical blow. In his world of corporate masks and strategic relationships, such vulnerability was foreign. He knew Emma vaguely as Daniel's artistic friend, but these words painted her in vivid new colors. When he finished reading, Liam sat motionless, the letter still in his hands. Something had shifted inside him. A crack in the carefully constructed walls he'd built around himself. He should return the letter. Forget he'd ever seen these words. Instead, he carefully folded it and placed it in his jacket pocket. A decision that would alter the course of 3 lives forever. Liam couldn't sleep. Emma Sullivan's words haunted him, playing on repeat in his mind as he paced his penthouse at 3 in the morning. He'd read thousands of documents in his career, Contracts, proposals, reports, but never anything that felt so nakedly honest. I've watched you laugh with other women and imagined what it would be like if you looked at me that way just once. He moved to the window. The city lights blurring through the light rain. Why had her letter affected him so deeply? Perhaps because in his world of calculated moves and strategic relationships, such raw vulnerability was almost shocking. Liam pulled the letter from his pocket again, tracing the loops of her handwriting with his fingertip. He'd met Emma several times at family gatherings. Daniel's quiet friend with paint-stained fingers and thoughtful eyes. He'd barely noticed her before. Now he couldn't stop thinking about her. His phone buzzed with an early morning email from Tokyo. Reality intruded. He was Liam Walker, CEO. Not some romantic fool obsessing over another man's love letter. Especially not his brother's. He would return it and forget he ever saw it. But something stopped him. Emma's stomach dropped when she realized her purse was missing. She'd searched her apartment 3 times before remembering. The study at the Walker mansion. Please pick up. Please pick up, she muttered as Daniel's phone rang. Hey, Emmy. Still recovering from last night? Daniel's cheerful voice made her anxiety spike. I left my purse at your parents' house, in the study. No problem. I'll check when I head over for Sunday dinner tonight. Actually, I need it now. There's something important in it. Can't it wait until... It really can't. Her voice cracked. 20 minutes later, Emma was pacing outside the Walker mansion when Daniel pulled up. The staff didn't find any purse, he said after checking the study. Maybe someone turned it in to lost and found. Emma felt lightheaded. The letter. Someone might have read it. Daniel might have read it. Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, she lied. Just worried about my ID and cards. I'll keep looking. Promise. She nodded, trying to appear calm while internally panicking. If Daniel had read the letter, wouldn't he have said something? Unless he was pretending he hadn't to spare her feelings. 3 days later, Liam still had the letter. He'd convinced himself he was waiting for the right moment to return it discreetly. In reality, he'd read it so many times he nearly knew it by heart. His assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your 2 o'clock appointment is here, Mr. Walker. Send them in. The door opened to reveal a young executive from marketing as they discussed the upcoming campaign. Liam's mind kept drifting to Emma's words. That evening, he made a decision. He couldn't return the letter. It would require explaining why he'd read it in the first place, but he could meet Emma, understand who she was beyond these pages, not as Liam Walker, CEO and Daniel's intimidating older brother, but as someone new. Someone who could approach her without the weight of his name and position. Will Harper. His middle name and his mother's maiden name. A simple alteration to see the woman who had unwittingly captivated him. Emma was setting up for her evening art class when the bell above the door jingled. A tall man in a casual button-down and jeans entered the small community center studio. Can I help you? She asked, not recognizing him. I'm looking for information about art classes. His voice was deep, confident. I'm Will Harper. Something about him seemed vaguely familiar, but Emma couldn't place it. His dark hair was slightly tousled, his eyes intense but warm. We have openings in the Tuesday evening beginner class, she said, handing him a brochure. Their fingers brushed, and Emma felt an unexpected jolt of awareness. Do you teach all the classes? He asked. Just the evening ones. I teach art at Westlake High during the day. You must be very passionate about art. She smiled. It's how I make sense of the world. William watched her face light up as she spoke about her work. The woman before him was nothing like the corporate women he typically met. There was something refreshingly authentic about her. Maybe I'll sign up, he said, knowing he absolutely would. As Emma watched him leave, she felt a curious flutter in her chest, for the first time in years. She'd gone several minutes without thinking about Daniel. Little did she know that the man who had just walked out her door was keeping her most intimate secret in his pocket, or that her letter had already begun changing everything. The Riverside Cafe buzzed with morning activity as Emma stirred her tea, watching Will sketch on a napkin. 3 weeks had passed since he'd joined her art class, and their post-class coffee meetings had become a highlight of her week. You're getting better, she said, nodding at his drawing of the barista. I have a good teacher. His smile made her stomach flip in a way that confused her. Liam had surprised himself with how much he enjoyed these moments away from his real life. As Will Harper, he was just a man learning to draw, not the CEO whose decisions affected thousands of employees. With Emma, he could simply exist without expectations. I have a confession, Emma said suddenly. Liam's heart skipped. Did she recognize him? I've been using you as a model for a painting. Relief flooded through him. Should I be flattered or worried? Definitely flattered. Your profile has these interesting angles. She blushed, realizing how that sounded. Liam fought the urge to reach across the table and touch her hand. The guilt of his deception was growing proportional to his attraction to her. I'd like to see your studio sometime, he said carefully. Emma hesitated only briefly before nodding. Saturday afternoon. Daniel dropped by Emma's classroom during lunch, carrying takeout bags. Surprise lunch delivery for my favorite artist, he announced, setting the food on her desk. Emma smiled, ignoring the familiar ache his presence still caused. What's the occasion? Can't I just visit my best friend? He hopped onto a desk. Actually, I wanted to tell you first. I'm seeing someone. It's getting serious. Emma's smile froze. That's great. Who is she? As Daniel described his new girlfriend, Emma felt something shift inside her. The pain was there, but duller than expected. Her thoughts drifted to Will and their conversations about art, life, and dreams. Earth to Emma. Daniel waved his hand. You okay? Sorry, just thinking about a project. She pushed her feelings aside. Tell me more about her. In his executive office, Liam reviewed acquisition proposals while his brother lounged in the chair opposite. You seem different lately, Daniel observed. Less intense. Liam kept his expression neutral, just managing stress better. Well, it's working. Mom actually asked if you were ill because you smiled at dinner last week. The brothers shared a rare laugh. Speaking of dinner, Daniel continued, bring someone next Sunday. Mom's trying to set you up with Senator Green's daughter again. I'm busy Sunday. Daniel raised an eyebrow. You? Busy with something besides work. Now I know you're hiding something. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Walker, the board is assembled for your presentation. That's my cue to leave, Daniel said, standing. But this conversation isn't over. After Daniel left, Liam stared at his presentation notes without seeing them. The walls of his carefully constructed deception were closing in. Every day with Emma made the eventual truth more devastating. Emma's studio was a converted warehouse space flooded with natural light. Canvases in various stages of completion lined the walls, and the scent of oil paint hung in the air. This is amazing, Liam said, genuinely impressed as he wandered between her works. Emma watched him nervously. Showing someone your art was like showing them your soul. It's not much, but it's mine. He stopped before a large canvas covered with a cloth. What's this one? Still in progress. She stepped between him and the canvas. A portrait of Daniel she wasn't ready to share. Liam noticed her protectiveness, but didn't press. Instead, he examined a series of small paintings featuring solitary figures in urban settings. These feel lonely, he observed. Emma joined him. They're about isolation in crowds, how we can be surrounded by people, yet completely alone. I know that feeling well, he said quietly. Their eyes met, and for a moment, neither spoke. Liam fought the overwhelming urge to confess everything. Who he was, the letter, his growing feelings for her. Instead, he asked, would you paint me sometime? The real me, not just sketches. The question held more meaning than Emma could possibly understand. She smiled, unaware of the double life of the man before her, or how dangerously close their separate worlds were coming to collision. I'd like that, she said. I'd like to capture the real you. Emma's brush moved across the canvas with gentle precision as she captured the curve of Will's jaw, the intensity of his gaze. He sat perfectly still by the window of her studio, afternoon light casting half his face in shadow. Can I move yet? He asked after she'd been silent for several minutes. Almost done for today. She stepped back to assess her work. You're surprisingly good at sitting still. Years of boring meetings, he said without thinking. Emma tilted her head. What kind of work do you do? You've never actually said. Liam tensed. In their 2 months of knowing each other, He'd carefully avoided specific details about his professional life. Business consulting. Nothing interesting. It must be somewhat interesting if it requires boring meetings. She teased, cleaning her brushes. He changed the subject. How's your friend Daniel doing? Emma's hands paused momentarily. Fine, I guess, busy with his new girlfriend. She kept her tone light. We haven't talked much lately. Liam knew this wasn't entirely true. Daniel had mentioned meeting Emma for lunch just last week. The web of lies was growing more complex by the day. You never found that letter you were looking for? He asked carefully. Emma shook her head. No. I've decided it's probably for the best. Some things are better left unsaid. If only she knew those unsaid things had been read dozens of times, carried in his pocket until the paper grew soft at the creases. Sometimes saying things out loud gives them too much power, she continued, not looking at him, or not enough. Words can never quite capture what we really feel. Is that why you paint? She smiled. Exactly. Liam stood and moved behind her to look at the portrait taking shape on the canvas. His proximity made Emma's heart race. The painting revealed more than she intended. Her brush had captured not just his features, but the intensity she felt when he looked at her. You see me differently than anyone else does, he said quietly. Emma turned, finding him closer than expected. How do others see you? As someone I'm not sure I want to be anymore. The confession hung between them. More honest than anything else he'd told her. Emma reached up hesitantly, her fingers brushing his cheek in a touch so light it might have been imagined. I see you, she whispered. Liam leaned down, their foreheads nearly touching. The moment stretched, fragile and perfect. His phone shattered the silence, vibrating insistently. The screen displayed, urgent, Walker Industries. Emma glimpsed the notification before he could silence it. Walker Industries. Do you work with them? I should take this, he said, already moving away. I'm sorry. Outside her studio, Liam answered the call. A security breach in their financial systems required immediate attention. Reality came crashing back. He wasn't Will Harper, art student with simple problems. He was Liam Walker, CEO with responsibilities to thousands. When he returned, the moment was gone. Emma was cleaning up, her expression guarded. I have to go, he said. Work emergency. She nodded, not quite meeting his eyes. Of course. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. Something about Will felt increasingly familiar, yet just out of reach. His reaction to the phone call bothered her. The way he transformed instantly from the relaxed man she knew to someone altogether different. She opened her laptop and typed Walker Industries into the search bar. The company's website appeared, along with news articles about their recent expansion. She clicked on leadership and froze. There he was, in a suit and casual clothes, expression stern rather than warm, but unmistakably the man she'd been painting, except the name beneath the photo read, Liam Walker, Chief Executive Officer. No, she whispered. That's not possible. She searched for more photos, finding several of Liam at corporate events. In one, he stood beside a familiar face, Daniel. Brothers. Will was Daniel's brother. The room seemed to tilt as connections formed. Her missing letter. Will know Liam, appearing in her life shortly after. His careful avoidance of personal details. Had he read her letter? Did he know how she felt about Daniel? Was this all some cruel game? Emma closed her laptop, feeling sick. The man she'd been falling for didn't exist. Across town, Liam sat in his darkened office, the city lights twinkling below. The security breach had been contained, but his personal crisis was just beginning. He'd nearly kissed Emma today, nearly confessed everything. Each lie now felt like a stone around his neck, pulling him under. His phone lit up with a text from her. Need to cancel tomorrow. Something came up. The brief message felt ominous. Had she discovered the truth? The thought made his stomach clench. He should end this charade before someone got hurt. Yet the thought of never seeing her again, never experiencing the freedom and connection he felt in her presence, was unbearable. For the first time in his life, Liam Walker, master of calculated risks, had no idea what to do. The control he prized was slipping away, replaced by something far more dangerous, genuine emotion. Rain pounded against the windows of Emma's studio as she paced between her easel and the door. Lightning illuminated the half-finished portrait of Liam. A man she'd thought was Will Harper until 24 hours ago. She'd canceled their last 2 meetings with vague excuses, needing time to process her discovery. Now she'd asked him to meet her here, determined to confront him. The door opened, and Liam stepped inside, rainwater dripping from his coat. One look at her face told him something had changed. "Emma, who are you?" Her voice was steady despite her racing heart. He stilled. "You know who I am, because I thought you were Will Harper, art student and business consultant." She gestured to the portrait. "Not Liam Walker, CEO of Walker Industries and Daniel's brother." The color drained from his face. "I can explain. Please do." Emma crossed her arms. "Start with why you've been lying to me for months." Liam removed his wet coat, buying time to organize thoughts he'd rehearsed countless times, yet never prepared adequately. "I found your letter," he admitted finally. "The one you wrote to Daniel." Emma's composure cracked. "You read it. It wasn't meant for you." "I found your purse in my father's study after the party. The envelope was unsealed, and I saw Daniel's name." He ran a hand through his damp hair. "I should have stopped reading, but I couldn't. So what was this?" She gestured between them. "Some kind of joke. Poor Emma in love with your brother. So desperate she'd fall for anyone who showed her attention." "No." The vehemence in his voice surprised them both. "It wasn't like that at all." "Then what was it like, Liam?" His real name felt foreign on her tongue. He moved closer, stopping when she stepped back. "Your letter. The way you expressed yourself. I'd never read anything so honest. In my world, people wear masks. They say what's advantageous, not what's true. That doesn't explain why you lied about who you were. Would you have given me a chance if I'd introduced myself as Daniel's brother, as Liam Walker?" The question hung between them. They both knew the answer. "You had no right," Emma said, her voice breaking. "Those words were private. My feelings for Daniel were private." "Were." He caught the past tense. Emma turned away. "Don't." Outside, thunder crashed as the storm intensified. The studio lights flickered once, then stabilized. "I never meant to hurt you," Liam said quietly. "At first, I just wanted to meet the person who wrote those words. Then I got to know you, and everything changed." "Changed how?" She faced him again, eyes glistening. "I fell in love with you, Emma. Not because of the letter, but because of who you are. Your passion for art. The way you see beauty in ordinary things. How you're not impressed by status or wealth. How would you know? You never gave me the chance to know the real you." Her words struck like physical blows. She was right. "Everything between us was built on a lie," she continued. "How can I trust anything you say now?" Before he could answer, the studio door burst open. Daniel stood there, soaking wet, expression thunderous. "What the hell, Liam?" "Mom said you were here." His eyes widened as he recognized Emma. "Emmy, what's going on?" The siblings stared at each other while Emma's world imploded further. "You should ask your brother," she said coldly. Daniel looked between them, confusion turning to understanding. "Are you two?" "No," Emma said firmly. "We're nothing." The pain that flashed across Liam's face was unmistakable. For a moment, Emma almost regretted her words. "Daniel, I need to speak with Emma alone," Liam said. "Like hell." Daniel stepped fully into the studio. "What are you doing here with my best friend? And why does she look like she's been crying?" "It's complicated," Liam began. "He's been pretending to be someone else for the past 2 months," Emma interjected. "He found the letter I wrote you, Daniel." He read it. Daniel's expression shifted from confusion to shock. "What letter?" "The one where I told you I've been in love with you for years," she said, past caring about the humiliation. Everything was falling apart anyway. "The one I never meant for anyone to read, especially not your brother." The studio fell silent, except for the rain hammering against the windows. Daniel looked stunned, while Liam's face had gone carefully blank, his CEO mask firmly in place. "Emmy," Daniel started, his voice gentle with pity. "Don't." She held up her hand. "I don't need your sympathy. Those feelings are in the past. Because of him." Daniel jerked his head toward Liam. Emma didn't answer, which was answer enough. "You manipulated her," Daniel accused his brother. "Used her feelings to what? Amuse yourself." "That's not what happened," Liam said, his controlled tone belying the emotion in his eyes. "Both of you need to leave." Emma said, suddenly exhausted. Please. I'm not leaving you like this, Daniel insisted. I'm fine. I just need space. Liam moved toward the door but paused beside her. Emma, I know you don't believe me now, but everything I felt, everything I feel, is real. She couldn't look at him. Goodbye, Liam. After they left, Emma turned to the portrait on her easel. With decisive strokes, she painted over the image, obliterating the face of the man who had broken her trust, and worse, her heart. Outside, the storm raged on. For a week, Emma ignored calls from both Walker brothers. She threw herself into teaching, staying late to help students with projects, anything to avoid going home to an empty apartment filled with memories of Will. No, Liam. Daniel was persistent, leaving voicemails that grew increasingly concerned. Emmy, please call me back. We should talk about this. I'm worried about you. At least text me that you're okay. This isn't like you, shutting me out. Whatever happened with Liam, don't let it affect us. She finally responded with a brief text. Need time. I'm fine. Please respect that. Liam, in contrast, sent only one message. When you're ready to hear the truth, I'll be waiting. His restraint somehow hurt more than Daniel's persistence. At Walker Industries, Liam moved through his days mechanically. Board members noticed his distraction during meetings. Quarterly projections were down, and rumors of a potential hostile takeover circulated. Your head isn't in the game, his father said bluntly after a particularly disastrous presentation. The board is concerned. I'm handling it, Liam replied, staring out at the city skyline. Are you? Because this company can't afford for you to have a personal crisis right now. Liam turned to face the man who had groomed him since childhood to take over the family empire. Is that all this company is to you? Numbers on a spreadsheet? His father looked genuinely confused. What else would it be? For the first time, Liam wondered if he was becoming his father cold, calculating, measuring success only in profit margins and acquisitions. The thought terrified him. Daniel found Liam in his office late one night, staring at a small painting, one of Emma's cityscape pieces that he'd purchased anonymously through her gallery. You really fell for her, didn't you? Daniel asked, closing the door behind him. Liam didn't look up. Does it matter? It matters to Emma. Daniel sat across from him. She won't talk to me either, you know. I never meant for any of this to happen, but it did happen. You lied to her for months, Liam. What did you expect? Liam finally met his brother's gaze. I expected to return her letter and forget I ever read it. Then I met her, and everything changed. Daniel shook his head. You could have told her the truth after the first meeting. Would you have in my position? The question hung between them. Honest in a way their conversations rarely were. I don't know, Daniel admitted finally. But I wouldn't have let it go on so long. Liam placed the painting in his desk drawer. How is she? According to her colleague at school, she's throwing herself into work, not eating much, looking exhausted. Daniel's concern was evident. She loved you, you know. The real you, even if she didn't know it was you. The past tense wasn't lost on Liam. I've lost her, haven't I? Daniel didn't offer false comfort. You might have. But if you actually care about her, you'll find a way to make this right. Not for your sake, but for hers. Emma was arranging student artwork for the school's annual exhibition when her department chair approached. There's someone here to see you, she said, looking uncomfortable. I told him you were busy, but he's quite insistent. Emma's heart jumped, thinking of Liam. Who is it? Daniel Walker. He says he's an old friend. Relief and disappointment mingled as she followed her colleague to the main office where Daniel waited. 5 minutes, she said before he could speak. That's all I can give you right now. They walked to an empty classroom, the silence between them unfamiliar after years of easy friendship. I miss you, Daniel said simply. Emma's resolve wavered. I miss you too. Then why won't you talk to me? Because every time I look at you, I'm reminded of everything. The letter, your brother, my own stupidity. Daniel reached for her hand. You're the least stupid person I know, Emmy, and for what it's worth, I think Liam is genuinely devastated. Good, she said, but there was no satisfaction in the thought. He's not who you think he is, Daniel continued. The cold CEO, the ruthless businessman. That's what our father made him. The man you knew as Will. That's who he wants to be. It doesn't change what he did. No, it doesn't. Daniel squeezed her hand. But maybe understanding why he did it might help you move forward, even if it's without him. Emma withdrew her hand gently. I need to get back to my students. As she walked away, Daniel called after her. The charity gala for the Children's Art Foundation is next Friday. He'll be there. If you want answers, that might be your chance. Emma didn't respond, but she heard him. Despite everything, a small part of her wanted to understand why the man she'd fallen in love with had felt the need to become someone else to approach her. The Walker Foundation's annual charity gala transformed the city's art museum into a glittering showcase of wealth and influence. Emma stood at the entrance, questioning her decision to come. Her simple black dress felt inadequate among the designer gowns. But she reminded herself she wasn't here to impress anyone. She was here for answers. Inside, champagne flowed as the city's elite bid on artwork donated by local artists, including 3 of Emma's paintings. Daniel had arranged for her inclusion without telling her, and she'd been too surprised to decline when the foundation called. She spotted Liam immediately. Even in a room full of powerful people, he commanded attention. His tailored tuxedo emphasized his height and the breadth of his shoulders. He looked exactly like what he was, a man accustomed to control, yet something was different. The confident mask she'd glimpsed that night in her studio seemed strained. He smiled mechanically at an older couple, his eyes scanning the room until they found her. The moment stretched between them, neither moving. Then Liam excused himself and began walking toward her. Emma's instinct was to retreat, but she stood her ground. This confrontation was inevitable. You came, he said when he reached her, his voice carefully neutral. Daniel mentioned my paintings were included. I wanted to see who bought them. A half-truth. All 3 sold in the silent auction. His eyes never left her face. I should know. I bought them. Emma blinked in surprise. Why would you do that? Because they're beautiful. Because they remind me of you. A waiter passed with champagne. Emma took a glass, needing something to do with her hands. Is there somewhere we can talk privately? Liam asked. She hesitated before nodding. 5 minutes. He led her to a small balcony overlooking the museum gardens. The night air was cool, the sounds of the gala muffled by the closed doors behind them. I owe you an explanation, he began. Yes, you do. Liam loosened his bow tie slightly, a rare gesture of discomfort from a man usually so composed. When I read your letter, something changed in me. The way you expressed yourself, so open, so vulnerable. It was like looking into a world I'd never been allowed to enter. He gripped the balcony railing. In my position, authenticity is a liability. Every relationship is strategic, every word calculated. That doesn't justify lying to me for months. No, it doesn't. He turned to face her fully. The truth is, I was a coward. I wanted to know you without the burden of being Liam Walker, without you seeing me as Daniel's intimidating older brother or the CEO of a company you probably despise. I don't despise. Walker Industries has closed 3 independent art galleries in this city for development projects, he interrupted. Our foundation funds arts education, while our business practices hurt working artists. I know the contradictions of my life. Emma was silent, processing his words. When I met you as Will, I experienced freedom I've never known, he continued. For the first time, someone saw me. Not my name, not my position, just me. I couldn't give that up, even when I knew I should. You had no right to read my letter, Emma said quietly. Those feelings were private, I know. I violated your trust before we even met, and then compounded it with every day I didn't tell you the truth. His voice grew softer. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Emma. I just want you to know that what grew between us was real. The only real thing in my life for a very long time. The raw honesty in his voice mirrored what she'd first heard from Will. No, from Liam himself. The realization that they were the same person still disoriented her. I don't know what you want from me, she admitted. Nothing. I expect nothing. He straightened his shoulders. But there's something else you should know. Inside, a microphone squealed with feedback. The foundation chairman was calling for attention. I need to get back, Liam said. They're expecting me to speak. Emma followed him inside, curious despite herself. The crowd parted as Liam made his way to the podium. every inch the powerful CEO. "Thank you all for your generosity tonight," he began, his voice commanding the room. "The Walker Foundation has always supported arts education. But tonight, I'm announcing a new initiative." He paused, his eyes finding Emma in the crowd. "Recent events have shown me the disconnect between our corporate values and our personal ones. Starting tomorrow, Walker Industries will establish an artist residency program in each of our new developments, ensuring working artists aren't displaced by our projects." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. This was not the announcement they'd expected. "Additionally," Liam continued, "I've come to understand the importance of honesty and transparency. Values our company hasn't always upheld." The room grew uncomfortably quiet. "I've made mistakes, professionally and personally. I've hidden behind masks and half-truths. Tonight that ends." Emma watched, transfixed as Liam Walker publicly dismantled his carefully constructed facade. "Someone recently showed me the power of vulnerability," he said, his eyes finding hers again. "And while I've lost her trust through my own deception, I hope to honor what she taught me by being more authentic in all aspects of my life." The speech continued, but Emma barely heard the rest. In a room full of people, Liam had essentially bared his soul for her. 3 months later, Emma stood in the center of her first solo exhibition, surrounded by her newest collection. Letters never sent. Each painting captured moments of vulnerability. Hands reaching across empty space, faces half in shadow, eyes reflecting unspoken emotions. The gallery buzzed with visitors, but Emma's attention was drawn to the tall figure examining her centerpiece. A large canvas depicting a rain-streaked window, a letter visible on the sill, words blurring into watercolors. Liam turned as she approached, his smile cautious. "This is extraordinary, Emma. Thank you." She gestured to the painting. "This one's called Truth Behind Glass. It's beautiful and painful. The best art usually is both." They'd spoken several times since the gala, careful conversations, rebuilding trust in small increments. Liam had kept his word about the artist residency program, working directly with local arts organizations, rather than making decisions from his executive office. "How's the teaching going?" he asked. "Good. Better since the foundation's grant expanded our program." She gave him a knowing look. "Which I know you had something to do with. The board approved it unanimously, after you recommended it." He conceded with a slight nod. "Your students' work deserves to be seen." A comfortable silence fell between them, something that would have seemed impossible months ago. "Daniel told me you stepped back from some of your CEO responsibilities," Emma said finally. "I appointed a new COO. It's given me time to focus on projects I actually care about." Liam's expression softened. "And people I care about." Emma felt the familiar flutter in her chest that his presence still caused. "The artist residency is making a real difference. That was a good decision. One of my better ones lately." His eyes held hers. "Though I'm still trying to make up for my worst one." A gallery assistant approached, apologetically interrupting. "Miss Sullivan, the reporter from the Arts Journal, would like a few words. I'll be right there." When they were alone again, Emma turned back to Liam. "I need to do this interview." "Of course." She started to walk away, but paused. "There's a small cafe around the corner. I usually go there after events like this, around 9. Hope flickered across his face. "Is that an invitation?" "It's a possibility." Emma met his gaze directly. "If you come as yourself. Just Liam. No pretenses." "I don't think I could be anyone else with you anymore." Later, as the gallery emptied and the exhibition's success was assured, Emma slipped out the back door. The cafe was quiet, just a few patrons lingering over late coffees. She chose a table by the window and waited, unsure if he would come. At 9 precisely, the door opened. Liam entered, having changed from his formal suit to jeans and a simple button-down. An echo of how she'd first known him, yet authentically himself. He sat across from her, his expression open and vulnerable, in a way that still surprised her. "I got your letter," Emma said softly, sliding an envelope across the table. "This time, it was meant for you." As Liam carefully opened it, Emma watched his face. Whatever happened next would be built on truth, painful, beautiful, and entirely their own.